What up, YouTube? Okay, so I am the owner of a 2007 Ford Edge, which is the same as the Lincoln MKX, and we have been experiencing a problem with when we turn to the left. Our Ford Edge kind of makes like a clinking, and it kind of like bogs down and makes like a clinking noise. It took me a long time to figure it out. Not really that much on YouTube about it, but what I came to conclude after I think is I watched a couple different guys here. I watched MacT, Ford Edge, and I think it's like Ford Macaloo or Matadoo or something like that. He puts out a lot of videos on, I think he works at a Ford dealership. And what it appears to be the problem with our Ford Edge, what really turned me on and made me sure that this was our problem was I saw a guy who had a 2008 Ford Edge, and what his problem was on his CV axle. So here I got the CV axle bungeed up. His was this ring right here broke. That was his problem on the CV axle. Now mine, because it was experiencing these problems, and I think the owner of the Ford Edge before me, because we just bought this car, and it had like three different owners. I think the owner before me replaced the CV axle, and then I went ahead and replaced it again. And because I think he was thinking the same thing I was, that this CV axle was the problem, when in fact it wasn't. And see, the problem is you'll be going down the road, and when you make those hard lefts, it will all of a sudden it'll make that clinking noise, and the stability light will like flash like once or twice. There's only been like once, maybe twice, that it's actually stayed on, and then the stability control light shuts off, and then it drives just fine, going straight, and most of the time even cornering. But what is happening is because your vehicle isn't picking up that it's turning, it just all of a sudden, what happens is that if, in my case, I think the sensor is bad on the left front, and so it actually engages the ABS, because I think it usually happens when we're applying brake too. And so all of a sudden, because this sensor isn't as magnetic anymore, when the wheel starts to slow down, it, instead of reading it as rotating like all the rest, it actually reads it as coming to a complete stop. And for whatever reason, that messes with the stability control of the vehicle, and it like cuts power, and then I think it engages the ABS. And so, yeah, I think his name's Ford Macaloo or something like that, the YouTube guy. But he was talking about how Ford from like 2002 to I think he said 2010 have this sensor issue. And so what he did was he took a screwdriver. Well, he used a pick, but you can demonstrate it all the same. And let's see if I can get my phone set up here. And his words were, "This isn't exactly scientific. There's an approach you can use to actually, like, if you hook up a multimeter, you can test the voltage output or the resistance on the line." And I actually have one, but for the common person who doesn't want to go out and spend a few more dollars on a different tool, a different special tool you don't use all that much. I guess you could use it if you ever have to replace your water heater. But what he showed, actually, you might be able to see there's metal shavings on the tip. I don't know if that's going to focus on that. Let me get out of here. There's actually, yeah, it's not really focusing all that great on that. There's metal shavings on the tip of this. And this is effectively a magnet that catches every time it goes around one of those teeth. And what happens is, let's see, get close, it sticks, right? So, in contrast, I'll go over here. to the sensor that's actually on the vehicle right now. And I'll throw my screwdriver. Just tap it. There is no magnetivity, or I think I just made up a word, magnetism to this sensor anymore. So kicked on at a inopportune time. But so that sensor, I think I demonstrated it well enough, but that sensor doesn't have any magnetism to it anymore. And so when you put a tip of a screwdriver to it and it doesn't stick, that's a problem. And so it's actually not that hard of a fix. Just got to pull a few of these tabs out and pull out your kind of interior mud flap that keeps mud and water and stuff from getting up in the engine compartment.